Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Wednesday, October 13th, 2021. It is a really, really nice day in Chicago, a frustratingly nice day because the weather that we have today would be perfect conditions for running a marathon. Maybe even a little bit on the touch on the hot side, but like it's just absolutely nice. I had to wear I wore a light hoodie to drop off the kids at school today. I did get out there for a ride on the bike for a little bit, and like I had just like a cycling jersey on, and it was chilly at the start but warm by the finish, and I was just like, this is really fantastic weather. Winds were mild. It was so nice. If only we could have had this last weekend, but you know it wasn't meant to be, but it is nice now. Hopefully it's nice where you guys are, especially if you're listening in on the podcast in the audio only version. Hopefully you're having a nice run or getting that recovery in today. And if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you got a nice recovery beverage. I'm going with some afternoon coffee because once the temperatures start to dip a little bit, the afternoon coffee just gets that much more tasty, and it's really good today. All right, let's see who we got in the chat, everybody. We've got Jonathan Crossley says, yo, and he wants to propose a discussion today around strength training and its place in endurance events like half marathon, marathon, ultra marathon. And we'd be interested in Kofuzi's and Dr. Josh's thoughts, among others. Yeah, everybody feel free to chime in. I'm not the best person to talk about strength training. It's one of those things where I realize that I'm at a point in my training and running where I need to incorporate more of it. I'm at a bit of a loss of how to do that. Dr. Josh and I, we talked about that a little bit when he was here in Chicago, giving me a hard time about body weight not being enough. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can incorporate it into my training. But I probably won't change too much in terms of what I've been doing other than my mobility work and some of my plyos and some drills that I've been incorporating lately. Want to make sure I'm continuing to do that, but I'd love to hear what some of you other guys think. Daniel M is here, says, yo, it's almost Halloween. Anyone doing a Halloween race? I'm trying to think. I don't have a Halloween race planned this year. I usually don't do one because, like a lot of you guys, I got kids. And so that usually becomes like the big focus of the day, but we'll have to see about that. JC says he is going to be doing club races on the weekend, but not really Halloween themed. You can always make it Halloween themed. That's always an option. You know what I mean? All right. Daniel M says, Galen Rupp said after Chicago that as he's getting older, he thinks strength training becomes more important for him, keeping his edge and speed. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Vincent Veneer says, good afternoon, everyone. And Terrence Hui says, our Thanksgiving race got turned virtual? It's weird considering most other local races are going forward. That is a real bummer. That's a shame. I mean, I guess I don't know where you are, Terrence, but it's just like, I feel like at this point, I would think that if races are going virtual, it may be because people weren't willing to kind of like sign up for them early enough, maybe. And that could have an effect, from months ago or weeks ago or however things are going. But I would be pretty disappointed for a Thanksgiving race to go virtual. I think, I've been thinking about it with, the term in terms of like when kids' vaccines aren't getting approved, that they haven't been approved yet. I was hoping they'd be like kind of here by now. But we're probably going to be spending Thanksgiving here in Chicago for the first time in like forever. So certainly since before we had kids. So I'm going to be missing my normal turkey trot, which is over at the Western Dubuque High School. It's a little, I think this like the students put it on or something like that, and you're supposed to bring canned goods in lieu of bringing like paying a race entry fee. You don't get a bib, and they say it's a 5K, but it's closer to 2 miles. But it's usually a lot of fun. A lot of my family goes, and so I think I'm going to be missing that one this year. So that's a real bummer. But that's not because that one's going virtual. Goodness knows nothing over there is going virtual. But yeah, I'll be missing it. So I actually was kind of looking to see if I could find myself like a Thanksgiving race to hop into. So I was kind of looking at that. Mika says, "Hi all, almost froze my toe off in the high pairing tempos. It was -3 degrees Celsius again. I had to run progressive rather than easy to keep warm. Time to start looking again for shoes which keep the feet warm." Whoa, Mika, where are you again? That's very, very cold. Oh boy, I'm not quite ready for that. You know what I did see though? I saw footage that someone I follow on Instagram had raced that race in Utah, where they had to pull those runners off of was it the DC 50 or something like that? They had to pull those runners off the mountain in Utah. And he showed a lot of footage of what it was like for him out there. He's like, I wasn't in the front, I wasn't in the back. Some had it worse, some had it easier, but this is what I saw, and it was pretty intense. So that was definitely a cold day, and the storm came in on them fast. So I'm glad everyone made it out relatively okay. All right, Elisa's here. With the super chat. Thanks so much, Lisa, saying more coffee. Well, thank you so much. The money will definitely go to use to more coffee. I'm loving it. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? Steve Zabrowski says, Sunday was tough. I live in Florida, and heat even bothered me a lot, but congrats to all who finished and didn't let the marathon conquer them. Don't look at the forecast this Sunday. It's perfect. I know. It's kind of like, remember that year, was it 2018, when Boston was just like miserably bad, and like the next day, it was balmy and like windless? Do you remember that? It's always that way, isn't it? You know? So that's just how it goes, I think, sometimes. Stevie76 says, can Kofuzi bench press 115-pound Dr. Josh? I think Dr. Josh is more than 115 pounds, right? But can I bench press 115 pounds? I don't know. At my peak, when I was a pole vaulter, I used to be able to bench press. I used to max out at 2 plates on each side. What is that? 180, 225? And I weighed about the same that I do now. So I was pushing some weight. But now I don't know how much I could bench press. 115? Maybe. What was that, 225s on each side? Maybe I could do that. I actually don't know. I haven't bench pressed anything in a long time. And yes, I did just bust out like back in when I was in college story. Mark Chancoco is here from Orlando. Hope it's going well down for you over there. And Danny Running with Scissors says, I'm part of an events company that did a Scarecrow 2-miler last weekend. That sounds fun. Was there a corn maze? Or were there scarecrows on the course? That sounds fun. Jeff Elliott says he thinks his Thanksgiving Day race is virtual this year as well. Oh. And Terrence says, okay, it's the Silicon Valley Turkey Trot. Oh, that's a surprise. I thought things were kind of like calming down over in that part of the country. That's a bummer. It's a bummer. PG1980 says, did you order the new Apple Watch? I was thinking about it this morning. I didn't order it yet, but I'm also thinking about getting a new iPhone too. I have the iPhone 11, so I'm 2 generations back. But the thing is, my phone works great, and so like I have no problems with it at all. I have actually no desire to get a new phone, except for the fact that my phone is AT&T, and just hearing some of the news about what AT&T's been up to the past couple of years, I'm just like, I think maybe it's time. I'm gonna get a new Apple Watch. I can't just switch over the contract for my phone, I think, because they're different bands or whatever it is. So I think I don't know, I might get a new phone. So I got to think about that a little bit. And then it was just like, well, the new M1X, the new MacBooks might be coming, right? There was the announcement for the event that's coming. So like, I don't know, it could be a really expensive November for me, I think. So yeah. I mean, my Apple Watch is the Apple Watch Series 4, so I'm 3 generations back now. My MacBook is from 2017. It's a regular MacBook, not a MacBook Pro, just a MacBook. So, it's starting to feel a little bit sluggish. It's 4 years old now, so more than 4 years old now. So like, or maybe it's 2018. I don't know. It's plenty of time. I'm due for some upgrades. So we'll see what I end up getting. Ooh, Dr. Josh says, anyone going to the open race at Foot Locker South the weekend of Thanksgiving? There's an open race? Just anyone can show up? All comers? Oh. I didn't know Foot Locker was still doing events. Is this still Foot Locker? Like, I remember when it was Kinney. But yeah. Jay says, "Good afternoon, Mike and everyone. Hope you get recovered well from the Chicago Marathon. I'm feeling good. I went for a bike ride today. Was out there for an hour, just easy spinning. Weather was great, and I had a fantastic time. I wanted to keep riding. I was like, I should go for a longer ride, but I was like, no, let's take it easy today. And then afterwards, like, maybe I should just go for a quick run. I'm like, no, I'll wait till tomorrow. So I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm not going to go out and race this weekend, although I am racing this weekend. I'm going to a race this weekend, but I'm not racing. But that's what tomorrow's video will be about. Some whatever I got left for the rest of the year. So, yeah. Mark says, my turkey trot is going to be the Space Coast Marathon with Scotty B. That's super fun. Oh, man. That sounds super cool. Malcolm Kent says, hey, Co. I'm new to running and I feel personally overwhelmed with all these hydration products. How do you know which to get? Like products with more salt or products with more caffeine? Malcolm, what I would say is it's easy to be overwhelmed. And I would say go to a running store where you, if you can, go to like running specialty and just get like one of each. And then, you know, on all your long runs, just bring a couple and see which ones you like. Right. And so like find ones first. The thing you want to figure out is like, are any of these going to disagree with you? I'm pretty lucky. Like I could take gels and they don't really bother me. Some people need to take them with liquid. Some people can only take certain ones because they disagree with their stomachs when they're running. But I'm pretty good eating whatever. But you over time figure out, ooh, I really like that, whether it's flavor or texture or how it made you feel. So I would say like it's a really fun thing to do is to go and try a couple of things. And don't just think about gels. I started out eating the gummies. So like the Cliff Blocks, they're like little cubes of gummy like material. And they're super fun to eat. So there's lots of different ways you can try it. Other people just like to drink their calories for their running. It's not as common on, you know, like longer runs. Usually there's food and drink, but a lot of times just liquid hydration and nutrition is enough. So like, you know, it's easy to be overwhelmed. I'm definitely sure, but like go and just try some stuff. And I find that exciting, but if you don't find that exciting, then I would say kind of like start with, and you're just tell me which ones to get. I like Goo Roctane. It's a really good taste, and also really good price. I love the Martin gels. That's the ones that like that everyone is using right now, but they're super expensive. It's like $4 a pop, but they're worth it I wouldn't use them every weekend, but they're definitely worth it. And then I also like Science and Sport because then it's another one that's good. It's a very different kind of consistency and texture. And also the price per unit is really good too. So those are three that I would kind of look at first. And that gives you like the spectrum of the products that are out there. And then from there, you can go back to the running store and say like, hey, I tried this, but I don't like it because of this. Is there something else that's kind of like that, but doesn't have these things too? So you can always kind of like go and experiment. But those are the three that I'll start out with. But otherwise, be a kid in a candy store and just go and try one of everything. All right. Power 83. The name's so powerful, he said it twice. Says, hi, you have tasted a lot of shoes like Adidas, Adazero Pro, and Vaporfly. Why do you choose to run Chicago with Asics? Because out of the shoes that I tested, I like them. So it's a good shoe. I've made several videos about it. So, I mean, it's a good one. I like the response, the way that there's like a speed to the response when you hit it. That's different for all the foams. And I really like the way that the FF Turbo works. Is it FF Turbo? I forget all the different flight foam variations that are in ASICS shoes, but I like the way that that one works. It's really lightweight. The upper feels great. And I like the pop of the carbon, like the push of the carbon as well. So like all those things make for a really great marathon shoe. So that's the reason I have it. I will be running in the Adios Pro 2, not the Adazero Pro, but the Adios Pro 2 for CIM, my next marathon. And I'll be training in the Carbon X2, the Prime X, the Adios Pro 2, I'll be continuing to run in the Metaspeed Sky, the RC Elite 2, and the Endorphin Pro. So I'll be training all those shoes as well. But for me and kind of what I like and what I want to be feeling under my feet at like mile 21 and 22. The Asics, I think, really worked out well for me. Mika just looked at his MacBook and says, "Oh man, his MacBook is apparently early 2015. No wonder it's been getting sluggish." Yeah, but those things last forever. That's the thing I do like. I do appreciate about the MacBooks. Like if you get it, I mean, I don't always like max out this. I don't max out the specs on it, but they're, you know, when I did the last one, I maxed out the RAM on it, and I felt like that really helped out quite a bit. Adam Spears says, when I was on the bike today, he said, "You wanted to keep riding?" Or I was hooked. It was good. I mean, it was just so relaxing today. Because I wasn't like worried about my heart rate or my pace or was I working hard enough, because I don't ever feel like I am on the bike. I just feel like I'm either working way too hard or not hard enough. I was just like, I'm just going to go cruise along the lakefront, and it was a great day. So, yeah, maybe I am hooked. I think it's a good sport. I like it. Runner Will's here. What's going on? Well, hope you made it back to New York. Okay, good to see you over the weekend. And AM says, I'm running a marathon in 2 weeks. The entire course is downhill. What type of shoes should I wear? Assuming that it is all on pavement, then I would say what worked for me on an all downhill course, I ran the Tunnel Marathon, which is an all downhill. Well, it's like 24 miles of downhill and like 2 miles of flat. Or maybe more like 4 or 5, but like it's a lot of downhill. I wore the Next Percents, and it worked out great for me. So like, I don't really think that I think people don't really need to change all that much, depending on like if it's going to be a downhill versus uphill course. Some people would say maybe you would think about one that has a little bit more cushion in the heel, because if you're braking to go downhill, depending on how steep the incline is, then that may be more useful to you. Other people might want a little bit of extra softness versus pop in the shoes, because you're going to be like absorbing a lot of impact in the quads as you're going downhill. But I'll just say, like, if it's a good racing shoe for you, it'll work. The only time that I would really change up a racing shoe is if it had a lot of turns. That's the only, I mean, for me, like the grade, if it's a road marathon, you know, Tunnel Marathon was 2,000 feet of downhill, but I don't think that it needs a change of shoe. It's not steep enough at any point where it requires a change of shoes. A trail marathon, yeah, maybe you're starting to think about that, but like not for a road marathon. Although like Tunnel Marathon is kind of half and half, not really exactly a trail marathon, not exactly a road marathon. All right. Dammy says, looks like you had fun last Sunday. Wish I could join a run with you one day. I got my marathon in Amsterdam this Sunday. Weather is so-so. Probably no rain and no sun, first one. And tapering feels weird. Well, no rain and no sun. That's kind of a good combo. And so-so weather, I mean, you know, you kind of want chilly weather for your marathon. And if it's your first one, you know, you're going to have fun out there because it's your first time trying the distance. And I wish you the best of luck. I hope for good marathon running weather, which is usually like kind of like unpleasant for spectators. All right, let me scroll down to the bottom. Make sure I'm staying up with you guys in chat. Cameron McBride says, using the alphas for my net downhill marathon, and that big wedge of Zoom X in the heel is going to save my butt. Yeah, I mean, some people, you know, what's funny is I remember they were talking about it a lot before the U.S. marathon trials, because Atlanta was such a hilly course. And they were saying that was the weekend that Nike gave all the athletes, everyone that was competing there in the marathon trials, a free pair of Alpha Flies so that they could get around the weird rule of, like, you know, commercial availability. And also a brilliant marketing move. But people were like, I don't know, that shoe, it might not be good for hills. It might be really great for a flat course. And I'm like, it is great for a flat course, but I think it's good I think it's great for a marathon length course. Some people don't like it on turns. I think it does pretty well in corners, but like if there was like switchbacks, then, you know, I don't know that I would necessarily pick it, but if it was just like one switchback, it wouldn't be enough for me to like not use the shoe. But if there was many in the course, then maybe. All right. Lee J says, shout out from the Philippines. What's going on, man? How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. Melvin Umang says, hey, Mike, you're a beast. Congrats again on Chi-Town. My buddy and I were texting back and forth over the weekend saying how much we wanted to be your friend, Team Asia. All right, man. Well, that's cool. We're friends. We're friends right now, Melvin. Thanks for your support. Steve says, I don't understand how you could BQ on a course with a net downhill elevation. I mean, the rule isn't 0 gain or above. Well, I mean, as they say, Boston is a net downhill course. So I think there's part of it is that. And I think that it's surprising to me that there isn't a number on it either. But I think as long as it's USATF certified and there is like a list of approved races, I think. And even if you're not, there's like a drop down box when you apply. So you could pick like your race from it, but it's not like only the races that are on the drop down list that are applicable. So, yeah, I mean, CIM is also a net downhill course. Yeah, so I mean, like most courses are net. A lot of point to points are net downhill. So I think that like, you'd have to, I think in an effort to keep it simple that they don't, but I know lots of people feel very strongly about it. Steve, you're one of those people. All right, James Aylward said, just checked out the Serious Runners Boston finish time, 3:04. What was he going for? I think he was going for like a 2:55, 2:50, something like that. It was a humid day in Boston. More humid than Chicago, although it was cooler. And it did rain earlier in the day, so I don't know. All right, J.H. Toda says, hey, Kofuzi, didn't get a chance to meet you afterwards, but I want to say thanks for the shakeout run on Saturday. I had a great time. I'd love to give Chicago another shot in the future. Awesome. Well, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to meet. My apologies for that, but thanks so much for coming out, and I hope you did have a good time while you were here. I felt like it was a really great weekend. There was just such good energy the entire weekend, and I really had a great time. I'm still like tired from like the week, not the race. I'm feeling great after the race, but like the entire weekend, I'm still kind of like tired from that. I think just because there's so much happening, and I just felt like it was just like from like Friday morning, it was just like boom, like nonstop the entire time. So, all right, let's see what else we got. JC says, is it fair to call it a Yasso workout when the 800 is really just part of another workout? Asking for a friend. I mean, I don't think it matters either way. I mean, I don't think that there's. I mean, I don't think there's any magic in the Yasso workout. I think the recoveries are actually a little bit too long. But not that I ever want shorter recoveries, but I think it's useful in that it's useful to you as an indicator of fitness for the marathon, and so like. Whether it technically fits within the definition, I don't think, as long as you're getting information that's useful out of it, I think that you can call it whatever you like. Antonio Rodriguez says, what's the net elevation for CIM? I want to say like 350 feet downhill, something like that. I looked at it the other day. Probably yesterday. The days are mixing. But yeah, I think it was somewhere in that range. Yeah, Dr. Josh says CIM net loss is 300 feet. There we go. All right. Jeff Elliott says it starts at 366 feet and finishes at 26 feet. Oh, there you go. They couldn't just say 20. They should have said it finishes at 26.2 feet. I feel like even if it isn't 26.2 feet, I would just say it finishes at 26.2 feet. Ty Matt says, hey, Ko, hey, fam. What's going on, Matt? How are you? Adam Pierce says about the Serious Runner. Seriously? 304? I get it. Seriously? 304. That's funny. I'm looking forward to his content. I messaged him the other day. I'm trying to get into his DMs. I said, I'm looking forward to your content from the weekend. I don't think he's responded yet. Cody Davis says, is the downhill of CIM the reason for the switching shoes? No. Just those are the two shoes that are my favorite so far this year. And I don't think any new carbon-plated shoes are coming out this year. So unless that Under Armour one comes out this year, but I don't think I'll be running in that one. So, like, those are my two favorite shoes on the year. the Metaspeed Sky and the Adios Pro 2, and I was like, I don't know how to pick which one. I like them both. They're very different, but I like them both. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm running 2 marathons, so I'll run one in one and another in the other. So that's kind of how that ended up being there. PJR says, order a pair of Vaporflies that should be arriving tomorrow. Any tips for seeing if a shoe will work for your long distance? Not sure if I want to throw them on for a long run out of the box. I mean, I think the way to do that is to take them out for a shakeout, like an easy run first, if you want to do it that way, if you're hesitant. So I would take them out for like your regular run. For me, that's like, either like I usually do like the 6 mile out and back or like the 10 mile out and back, and then just throw some strides in there. And so you'll have a pretty good idea if you're putting your strides in your like last mile or maybe second to last mile, 15 seconds at like mile race pace with 45-second rest, something like that. And just changing some of the pace and changing some of the intensities, back and forth. I think that'll give you a pretty good feel if there's going to be any like showstoppers right away. I mean, absent putting them on for a long run, that's when you'll really know if this is your race shoe or not. But I mean, in terms of like, I don't know if I could even trust this for 20 miles or 16 miles or 13 miles. I would say like your regular run with some strides will be a good reason for you to just a good way to test it out. All right. Shannon says, besides your sleep quality being poor, how are you feeling / recovering? Yeah, the sleep I think the sleep is good. It's just like my body is like working hard as I'm sleeping. So it's like, I think I'm getting good sleep. It's just, my numbers aren't indicating that I am like in a recovered state. I'm feeling good. Until yesterday, my appetite was just still a little bit off. I wasn't like ravenously hungry like I usually am all the time. But like by like after dinner yesterday, my body was like, hey, we should have some snacks. And I was like, I need some snacks. Let's eat some food. And so like I was like scrambling through the kitchen for like some food. And so the appetite's back. So I think that's good. So I'm feeling great. I felt great on the bike today. And I think I'm going to go for a run tomorrow. And then, yeah, I've already got a race lined up for this weekend, but it's a 5K. So Greg Itahara, I don't know if Greg's here today, but I don't know if he's on the board or just on the planning committee or if just his kids go to this school or what, but there's a school up in the north suburbs. I think it's suburbs, but not far from here, that has like a memorial 5K. And so I'm going to do that one. So I'll be just going to see Greg and support the race. And so I'll probably, see if I could put I'm not going to race a 5K. I'm not going to go for a PR, but we'll see if I can put maybe some marathon paces in there, just see how that kind of feels for the 5K. And then I've got another race the weekend after that because another one of my friends is putting on an ultra. And I'm only doing the half. But it's the inaugural year, and it's not that far from here. So I'm like, I don't really want to do that, but I am looking for other places that I can go to test out trail shoes. So if there's a trail within easy driving distance of Chicago, and you're going to show me where it is, I'll do the race. So I'm feeling good. I guess I'll know better tomorrow after I actually run, but so far I'm feeling great. All right. Jason Dahl says, hey, everyone, conference calls made him late. That's all right. You don't have your calendar blocked off? Chris says, that running guy says, how's your recovery going? Stairs your enemy? When are you planning to run again? Yeah, I think I'm going to go tomorrow. The stairs, I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling good about it. And, it makes me think like, oh, maybe I didn't run Chicago that hard because I'm feeling really good. So I'm like, interesting. Maybe I thought my legs were hurting more than they were. So I don't know. We'll see. But I also think that, ultimately that's going to be good for me and my long-term goals. I've got a lot of ground to cover between now and December, and there's not a lot of time. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Mark says, I need snacks now. That way we're talking about snacks. You just ran out of gummy bears. Sean Wade says, why not run by heart rate from the start of the race? What is your max heart rate you should run at for your first 20 miles? That's not a bad idea. A lot of people do that. I was focusing on the pack for me for a lot of the race for Chicago, because I really wanted I knew it was going to get windy, and then I knew later in the race that it would just be mentally tough. So I wanted to stay with the pack for as long as possible. So I was kind of like trying to keep all of those things in mind: heart rate, power, pace, the physical location and proximity to the pace group, like all. So I was kind of like trying to juggle those things. And in retrospect, kind of like, it's a great question, because I probably was paying attention to too many different things. So I think what ended up happening was I ended up paying attention to like none of those things really. And so, overall, a day of pretty relatively disciplined racing, and then like some very undisciplined racing. So maybe I should have paid more attention. What is your max heart rate you should run at for the first 20 miles? That's going to be different for every person, because it's going to be a function of not only your max heart rate, but also of your level of fitness. And, just, other like running efficiencies and mechanics that you have. For me, I think that a good place for me to be for my max heart rate, which I think is, I've never done like a real, like a VO2 max type test, or figured out what my real max heart rate is in terms of like getting on a treadmill and having like lab equipment put on me. But I think my max heart rate is somewhere between 181 and 183. And my low heart rate running is usually like 144 beats per minute or easier. I try to stay in the high 130s. But for marathons, I think that if it depends on, again, what time part of the race I'm in. But like, marathon pace for me is generally like 155 to 165, in that range. That's a big range. But if I could stay around like 160-ish, that usually means I'm not working too hard. Inez is here. What's going on, Inez? Good to see you. Is it still busy time for you, or is that past? Or hopefully things have gotten a little bit easier. Work-wise, remember you were talking about that. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says, I think your heart rate is going to be zone 3 to zone 4 as the race progresses, plus it'll be higher at the start just due to the excitement and anxiety. Yeah, I mean, I think towards the end of the race, especially if it's a hotter or especially if it's a humid race like it was for Chicago and for Boston, your heart rate isn't going to be able to regulate itself as well, just from the fatigue and the strain on the body. So like, I remember when I ran the Chicagoland Spring Marathon, I think that was June, I wanted to keep it real easy, like in my low heart rate range for the entire time. But it got hot that day and sunny. And then by like mile like 17 or 18, my heart rate just got real high, even though I was running at like very easy pace, like 9-minute miles. Or I think it was like, maybe I was running 8.5-minute miles. My heart rate was up in like the mid 160s. And it was just like, this is where we're going to be at if you're going to keep making us run like this today. So sometimes that just happens. Jeff Dover says, how was the Polar Grid X Pro? I didn't run with the Grid X Pro because it's heavy. I ran with the Vantage V2. It did have a weird start issue. Like when I first started the activity, I don't know if like there's just something about the starting mat or something that made it do something weird, but like, it looked like it was fine as I was waiting in the corrals, but the moment I like clicked the button to start it, I didn't get pace, distance, or heart rate. Like it forgot all of my sensors. It just gave me like a timer in terms of how long I'd been running. So I had to restart the activity. Cody Davis wants to know if I ran in the 85T or the 75T. I ran in the 85T. I've been trying to give my wife the 75T. She spends her entire day on like conference calls and stuff because she works remotely. And so I've given her a pair of AirPod Pros. She broke them already. And then I gave her another pair of something else. Like I once just handed her a bag of my old earbuds that I'd reviewed, and she took some like not as good ones. I'm like, why did you pick those? She's like, I don't know. Just look, there was the first one I grabbed. I'm like, okay. And then I've been trying to give her my 75Ts, and she's like, I don't know, these look like they're nice. And I'm like, I know, but you're on the phone all day. You should have nice ones. She's like, I don't know. So I'm like, take these. They're the 65Ts. They're 2 years older. And she's like, I don't know. I think I'm fine. So I don't know. Yeah, I can't make her take my old earbuds, I guess. Melvin Umang says, we'll be racing the Endorphin Pros for the first time in the Halifax Marathon next month in Canada. Hope I can sustain the pounding. All right, well, that's exciting. I don't think I've ever seen anything from the Halifax Marathon before. That's cool. Awesome. Well, good luck. Ines giving us a work update, says he's a bit more caught up with work, but thankfully lots of work still be done. Okay. Well, you know, busy is good, as they say. It just got dark all of a sudden, so I'm going to turn on this light. All right. Shannon says she has a hard time getting her heart rate up past 140s during workouts. Does it mean my legs might be fatigued? I think it would skyrocket when I feel like death during the workout. I mean, if you're having a hard time getting it to go up, do you run with a chest strap or like an external monitor? I can't remember, Shannon. Maybe your watch isn't getting the heart rate accurately. Because I would think that it would skyrocket if you're working hard. So that's kind of be the first thing that I would look at. Rain Runner's here. How's it going, Rain Runner? Good to see you. And all right, yeah, a lot. Oh, we got a lot of my wife. Which one is it? It's this one. Sorry about that, guys. I totally missed it. Totally forgot that I have these sounds. And hopefully you heard them. I don't know. I never know anymore. Jonathan Crossley wants to know, has anyone tried out the Bone Conduction Aftershocks headphones? Considering picking some up. I want to say I don't think I saw very many of those on the course in Chicago, but I suspect that people that probably run with those regularly maybe just didn't bring headphones for the race. I don't know. I didn't see very many. But I know that people that have them love them. I'm the exception. I didn't love them. I don't know. I just didn't. I don't know. I think that there's something about it that's. I mean, it just doesn't sound the same to me. Rob though loves his Aftershocks. See, I wish I loved them, but I don't. See, because I feel like, you know, there's definitely people that are annoyed by the fact that I run races with a selfie stick, and they're within their right to be annoyed about it. And I feel like I also run with 2 watches and earbuds in, and I feel like that also like annoys people even more for the same reason that a person might be annoyed about someone else running a race with a selfie stick. And so I feel like if I at least had the Aftershocks, maybe it would be less annoying to people. I don't know. Rob says he uses them at work. He puts in earplugs and they work beautifully. But then if you put it, I mean, I guess though the main thing there is you're saving your hearing, right? So you're not damaging your eardrums. But I'm like, well, if you're putting in earplugs, you're losing one of the benefits of it, which is that you can still hear other things. But yeah. And is it just me? Is the volume quiet tonight? I did turn it down a little bit from yesterday because I felt like I was still peaking a little bit on some of it. So I don't know. The saga with getting this audio right continues. I don't know. Hopefully you guys can at least still hear me. Daniel M says, as long as I don't get whacked with a GoPro, enjoy the race however you like. Haha. Yeah, I mean, I hope that that's how most people perceive it. You know, I don't want to make people angry, you know, so that's something that I would like to avoid. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's to the, I mean, maybe it's to the point where I need to like ask the races for like, can you give me like a bib that says media on it? Like a big yellow thing that I could wear on my back so that people know that like, you know, but I'm like, I don't think a lot of the races want to be connected with me in that way, which I think is weird, but I don't know. Yeah. And it's not really been too big an issue, but like, you know, this year's video, like the race videos that I make for Chicago are getting more and more kind of like reach, which is great and it's awesome. But as I reach beyond the circle of like everyone here, which is like this safe space, and I venture beyond the safe space, there's a lot of people that will find lots of reasons to get angry at things. And sometimes they're angry at the selfie stick. sometimes they're angry at other things maybe, and the selfie stick, it becomes like the locus of their animus, is a way of saying, I don't know. So, but yeah, I know it draws attention to me and potentially some negative attention, and that's okay. Yeah. A Cosmonaut says all the Karens getting mad. Well, I mean, what's the dude version of Karen? I don't think I've really gotten any negative feedback from women, but it's usually dudes. But Regan Dugan says they're probably mad about getting passed by someone with a selfie stick. That did happen to me in like 2018. A guy like crashed into me coming around a turn, and I was just holding it like this and filming it so I can film like going around the turn like this way, and like he came out from the outside and like barreled into me, and then he looked at, and he's like a foot taller than me, and he looks at me and he's like, "Dude, you're running with a selfie stick? Someone's trying to race here today." And I was like, "Okay, sorry," and then I just sped up. And then I passed him, and then he kept trying to like run faster than me, and then he would slow down, and I would just keep going, and he got really mad. I think he got really mad about that. I mean, like, it's kind of like I got really mad at the time in Baltimore when I got passed by a Dunkin' Donuts cup. That was pretty frustrating, but I don't know. I didn't take it. Well, I took it personally, but I didn't have any ill feelings towards the Dunkin' Donuts cup. I felt like if you can run faster than me in Dunkin' Donuts cup, proceed. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says like they clicked on a video that you film while running a marathon to complain that you filmed a video while running a marathon. Yeah, I'm not sure what people are expecting sometimes when they see the video. And this year, the thumbnail shows me holding the selfie stick. So maybe that's why they clicked it. They're like, that guy didn't really run this whole race with a selfie stick, did he? So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I try not to worry too much about that type of person is going to find something to complain about the video, no matter what. If it wasn't the selfie stick, that type of person is going to complain about something else. So, like, in some ways, it's kind of a lightning rod. It attracts from what other else thing that they might find to be angry about, I think. So, Dan King says, what's going on, Dan? Says, hey, Boston 10s or Adi Pros for the first proper race shoe? Slight support needed in my daily shoes. Much love. Of those two, for a proper race shoe, I think that the more I run in the Boston 10, the less I think it is a successful shoe. I just don't love it. The price difference and the availability are substantially different, though, in terms of the Adios Pro and the Boston 10. So that might, in and of itself, answer the question for you, if those are the two that you're deciding between. But I very much prefer the Adios Pro more than the Boston 10. If you need slight support, I would say that probably neither of those shoes is great. Maybe the Boston 10 is a little bit greater. And I think that part of the reason is they cut out like a little portion of the foam under the arch for this year's version 2s in the Adios Pro and in the Primex. Although the Primex is version 1. But they cut out a little like notch. And I think that helps the shoe bend a little bit better, which helps like load the carbon and also like kind of rock through the foot cycle and the foot strike and gait cycle. But I also think that for some people that need some more medial support, when they hit, their ankles might roll in a little bit further because there's just a little bit less foam. So that's something that I would be a little bit concerned about. When people have been asking me for like what's the most stable or the best shoe that for people that need support, I've been looking at the ones that I feel like have the widest base, like the footprint is the widest. And those, for me, in my mind, are the Hyperion Elite 2 and the Hoka Carbon X2. I think those are the ones that I think probably do the best in preventing a lot of that ankle kind of like movement of those two. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Everyone's saying that a male version of a Karen is a Chad. Is it? Okay. Mark Flem just says male Karens. Oh, that's funny. Melvin Yumeng says, Mad skills being able to race with a selfie stick, period. Wife and I can't even take a decent static selfie with a stick, let alone moving. And he's got hashtag Asian shame. That's so funny. You guys have a lot of ideas on the men Karen. Cody says, a dude Karen is a Kyle or a Todd. Okay. Okay, I like it. Cole says, Karens and Timmys makes Kyles. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm not sure. Viet Nguyen says, I got passed by a giant banana. I didn't see any bananas running on the course, but I did see, I don't know if I saw one banana twice or if I saw two different dudes wearing a banana costume on Sunday. But I was like, after I saw it the second time, I was like, that banana's everywhere. And that guy seemed pretty excited. So maybe I think it was the same guy twice. Yeah. And Mika Katara says, I got passed by a goofy once. That hurt. Oh, man, that's so funny. That's so funny. Matt Cornero says, getting passed by costumes is a little demoralizing. I ran Chicago with a taco outfit for 2 to 3 miles. Nice. That's awesome. But only for 2 to 3 miles? Did you ditched it afterward? It was like, this is too much. Vietnam says he also saw a giant hot dog that was using a plastic ketchup bottle as a water bottle. That's so funny. But you know who else? I think it was, who did I see recently? Someone was showing their elite bottle prep, and it was like those restaurant squeeze bottles. You know, they're clear, like that opaque, kind of like clear white plastic bottle with the pointy thing that you squeeze it. And then sometimes it has a little attachment for like the nozzle cap that goes right on top. Someone had 8 bottles of that, and that was going to be their bottle. Not like a Martin water bottle, not like a special like shaped bottle that's extra tall to grab easily while you're running fast. It was just like 8 like restaurant supply, like clear plastic, like the kind that they put like oil or melted butter in, like that kind. It was like, oh. I'm like, I hope that they cut a little bit off the nozzle. It's going to take forever to drink that Martin. Scott says, I get a lot upset when I get passed by a baby stroller. Yeah, I've had that happen before too. And it's definitely, I always like to cheer them on, but I'm like, oh man, that guy. Can't believe that. So usually I'm like, way to go, Dad, or way to go, Mom, you know, like, great job with the stroller, keep pushing the babies. But I'm just like, oh, how are they doing that? I don't understand. Dr. Josh says, for the people that are complaining, as long as they comment or downvote the video, it still helps the video. Yeah, I know. It does in the weird, strange way that social media works. So I'm just like, I don't know. Thanks for watching. That's usually a comment that I'll leave a lot of times when it's just like a pure like negative comment. Like, you know, like I know that if there wasn't this about the video, that they'd complain about something else. So I just say, well, thanks for watching and leaving a comment. That's very helpful for me and helping this video get spread out to more people. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says, hate views are still views. Tyler Gee says, favorite current New Balance shoe? Easily the RC Elite 2. That's a great shoe. But if we're going to go by my favorite New Balance shoes, I still think I like the TC, the Fuel Cell TC more. I think the RC Elite 2 is a better racing shoe, but in shoes that I just like, I think I like the Fuel Cell TC. I wish they would bring back a version too. That was a good. It looked great. I don't know. Daniel M says, like, analogy with like the running with the selfie stick would be when people at a concert are filming on their phones instead of just watching the show. But I think that's a bit different too. I hope it's a little bit different because I don't love that when people. I mean, number one. Even before the pandemic, I did not go to concerts or shows. I'm a homebody. So, yeah. So I guess probably the last time I was at a show was before like everyone was like getting their phone out trying to get like a clip for TikTok or Instagram stories or whatever people are doing these days. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like, I don't know, if I'm like going through Instagram and like I see on, like, if I'm going through stories and it's like concert footage and I see like 17 little dashes up the top of the screen, I'm just like, swipe. I'm just skipping this day because I'm not going to watch like that many clips of a concert. It's just, I don't know. I don't like, so I don't really know a lot of times why people do it. It's not, I don't find it entertaining to watch, but maybe other people do. I don't know. Shannon wants to know, I wonder if the Tin Man Elite crew really love all their Adidas trainers. I mean, I don't know. Like, cause like, I think being an Adidas athlete would be great, right? Cause then like, if you're getting like the Adios Pro is such a great shoe. I mean, did both winners, men and women, of the Boston Marathon, they ran in version 1, the yellow ones, right? Maybe they ran the yellow ones because it was yellow for Boston, but like they ran in the yellow ones. But like those shoes are doing great. I think the Primex is awesome. It won the where was it? Not the Valencia Marathon. It was somewhere else. That other marathon, and then got disqualified. But like, so those shoes are great. But like, when I watch Tin Man Elite and they're like, yeah, we love these Solar Boost. And I'm like, do you really, guys? Do you? I mean, like, I know you're great runners. And so, like, I could give them anything and they'd probably be fine just because, like, they're really good runners. I think good runners can run in pretty much anything for, like, daily training. Like Morgan McDonald, for example. He can run in all those Under Armour shoes. Or he did before. But now he runs for On, right? So he can run in all those and he's fine. But he's a great runner, naturally gifted. It works really hard, very skilled, right? So like, I'm like, maybe they do like the Solar Boost, but I'm like, really, Solar Boost? It's okay. Ultra, like, and I see Erica Kemp, really great runner, runs for the Boston Athletic Association, and she's like doing all her daily training, at least on social media, in Ultra Boost 21s. And I'm just like, for real? I'm like, she's a tiny person. Like those Ultra Boosts must be like super heavy in comparison. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they would ever tell us. I don't think we'd ever get that answer. Christopher Rochelle says, Ben Park's video of running London with the selfie sticks brings so much joy. Such a happy guy. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to finish watching that video. But, you know, when he's out there doing his thing. You know what I love is like the classic Ben Park style. Is it starts out the video, good morning, everybody. And he's like super positive and it looks great. And then there's the cut to Sarah of him holding the GoPro and talking to the camera. There's always that cut, and I love it. But because it's like a nice way of letting you know that, oh, it's not just Ben, Sarah's there too. So like, you know, your two people are there in the video. So it's a good one. Dr. Josh says, Apple should get into the super shoe market. Programmed to fail when the next one comes out. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I don't know if it's still the case, but I remember like back when like the early Apple Watches were coming out, because remember Nike used to have a watch. At that time, there was a lot of like I don't want to say cross-pollination, but a lot of people that were like on Nike's board were on Apple's board and vice versa. And so like, it was like the same people not in charge of both companies in a way. And so like on a very zoomed out high level, but, so, I mean, I feel like they kind of are, in a way, with Nike. James Aylward said, my friend was annoyed in a marathon when he got passed by the Perrier man who was dressed as a waiter carrying a bottle of water on a tray. Oh, my goodness. Do you think do you think that was glued onto the tray? Or do you think that was like, this is going to be my hydration later? I'm going to drink from it as I go. That's part of like the whole cost. I don't know. That's amazing. That's amazing. Andres Orbe says, what neighborhood was your favorite to run through this year? Pilsen was electric and a needed push for me. Pilsen showed up this year too, and it was longer. So like not just on like the main stretch, but like they were spread out. And so like I remember seeing just like flags and people and groups, and people had just set up their own aid stations and were just like holding out water bottles and stuff to hand out to people. It was great. So that was definitely really, really good to see. I felt like there's that charity row on that westward stretch where all like the charity groups have their tent set up. That was also really good this year. It felt like it made it go by really fast. So like, I don't know if it was different this year somehow or what, but I just felt like, that going out west stretch went by really quickly for me. So that was also really good to go through this year. But favorite, I don't know. Favorite. I mean, I like coming in through Lakeview because that's where I live, and so that's where I see the most of the people that I know. So that's probably always going to be my favorite because, I'm running literally through my front yard to do that. But lots of great support out on the course this year. Power 83, where'd that go? Said. Oh man, I'm behind you guys. Let's see. Talking about the Primex. Yeah, I forget where it is. I lost it. But the Primex, yeah, that guy won in the Primex, but then he was disqualified. Was it Vienna? No, I don't know. I thought it was a V. But yeah, so he got disqualified because it's an illegal shoe. But yeah, but people are winning with it. All right. Nick Rolla says, question on shoe length. And I think maybe we'll shut it down for today. Maybe I'll do one or two more because it looks like we got some questions in here. Nick Rolla said, question on shoe length. Is it better to go a little under a thumb's width or a little over? Feel like I'm between sizes. If you're between sizes, I guess I would prefer to go with a little bit more than that in the length. But, if I would also check in how like the width is on the sides of the shoe too. So like, I don't know. I've gone short before. I think, let me take that back. I think I prefer going a little bit shorter than I would prefer going a little bit larger. The shoe will be a little bit snappier. It'll be lighter. When I run in shoes that are a little bit too big, I feel it. When I run in shoes that are a little bit too short, I don't feel it. It takes me a little bit longer to feel it. So I would go shorter, but again, check the width. If it's going to scrunch the toes from the sides of your feet, then go up. Josh says, I was upset at Chicago when they said we had to dump the bottles to get in. Yeah, I don't know if they've done that every year. I don't remember that before, but I guess I don't. I'm trying to think, did I bring one? I didn't bring any liquids in with me this year. That would be upsetting because there's like, this was my plan. But I guess they have water and Gatorade by the gear check. I don't know if they had that for you in American Development. I would assume that they did. So maybe just bring the powder next time. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people this year, their plan was to bring in a speed flask on their hand and have it pre-filled with their hydration drink and their nutrition. So if they had to pour it out, that's that's a big deal. It's a big deal. Margie Dim said, what are the best value New Balance running shoes? I would say whatever's last year's shoes. I think also, is it the Prism? That's like $100 or something like that. People seem to really like that one. I've not run in it myself. But I would say like if you can get like the 880 version 10, 1080 version 10 is not going to be the cheapest, but I think maybe the best value for what shoe you can get, because I think that you can get those at pretty significant discount. And then I would also look at the Beacon 2, any of the Beacons. But the Beacons don't really go on sale or discount for prior years because people know that they're good shoes. So those are ones that I would look at. All right. And let's do this last question I saw. Where'd it go? There was another question about, oh, here we go. Madridi guy says, hi, bro. Rincon 3 or Mach 4 for a 10K and above? Please advise. I'd probably go with the Rincon 3. I think that I'm assuming you mean racing. Yeah, for racing, I want to go with the Rincon over a Mach 4. But if you're talking about just longer runs, then I would go that are like easy to moderate, then I would go with the Mach 4. The Rincon is just like is a workout shoe. So that's how I think about that one. Matt wants to know, and this will be the last one for today. Did you slow down to high five your family during the race? I didn't high five them, but I did, say hi to them and tell them I love them, and I yelled at them and stuff, in a good way. So I did see them a bunch of times. I was like, I'm surrounded by people, and I didn't want to be like, hey guys, and just like touch them and stuff. So I was like, I might be dirty. So I didn't give them any high fives. I usually don't give them high fives, but I usually just wave at them as I run by. So there's that. All right. Tomorrow I'm going to go over kind of like, not my race plan or like my training plan for CIM, but I am going to go over like what places I'm going to be, places that we can meet up, races that I'm going to be doing between now and early December. So that's going to be tomorrow's video. And then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon, same time as today, happy hour. I've got a couple of different things to pick from. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to do, but I will have a recovery beverage tomorrow. So bring your favorite recovery beverage, and hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.